Hi guys, this is the British Bookworm. So today I'm going to review a book on martial arts. It's one of those little books that are literally the kind of book that would be a gem on any martial artist's bookshelf. There are a lot of books out there that claim to have massive knowledge, life-changing knowledge, proactive things that you can implement in your own life that can improve your life or improve your ability in a said sport or activities that you're passionate about, whether it's like rock climbing or running books or fitness books. And they're all promising you to the idea that if you read the book, you'll be better. And some books promote now probably more than in any other time, like that they have sort of the core foundations of truth of said martial art, of said martial arts skills, martial arts styles, foundations, and everyone thinks that they have a unique message. Everyone has the idea that they've got something extra to teach when those who are passionate about the subject that they're writing about and have done a lot of research probably are aware that the said book may only have a few bits and pieces that are of worth to them, and the rest they either know or that they've moved a long way on from, where they do no longer accept. Say, for example, in martial arts, katas is an actual worthwhile practice for self defense, for example, or fitness books might have nutrition aspects in it that are just not practical for most people, that type of area. But this book is a book that, um, if you learn it and you implement it in your training as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, it will literally improve your jiu-jitsu through the roof. It'll send your skill set through the roof. If you're a beginner, this book is going to radically improve your jiu-jitsu immediately, and you will be doing things that, or rather learning faster than if you had another 20 books on your bookshelf that are technique based. So, what is it? Mastering the 21 Immutable Principles of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, without doubt, this book is probably one of the most important books. If you're a martial artist or you do jiu-jitsu, this is probably one of the most important books you could own, period. Because it is based on the foundational elements of a style that obviously everyone knows about in jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows about jiu-jitsu. And again, like, while you must go to your dojo and implement each one of these laws into your sparring and gradually get better and better and better and better at it, just even knowing the said material for a self-defense scenario or fight will radically improve the scenario that you are in. So Rickson Gracie, who everybody in the main sees as like the greatest full contact fighter ever, although there are the people, detractors from that, who also think that like his fights were set up. Like they picked certain people that he knew that they could be, that their skill set in his style were very weak, and so they were very easy prey. You could go down that path, but we're not. In honor and respect to a truly great fighter, we're not going to just go down that path of debate. But the point why I'm mentioning Rickson Gracie, who is considered the godhead of the Gracie family in many ways, he has this thing called invisible jiu-jitsu. So they are the most subtle elements to movement which radically improves your ability to influence a fight, control an opponent, etc. So basically, this is another variant of Invisible Jiu-jitsu, and he has got a massive background. The author, Paulo, I can't say his name, Paulo Guillobel. Sorry, mate, Paulo Guillobel. And one of the things that he's done in this that I think is exceptionally good thinking is he's got a code in the book which you can access his free videos. They are online as well, but you can access his videos for each component element illustrating the said point. So if you do jiu-jitsu or judo or you're into self-defense, this several hour read could literally transform your game. If you read this so that you know it off by heart and you understand the concepts therein, when you go to the mat, even if you've never done it before, you're going to be on the floor with your back down and you'll be like, shit, I'm flat to the floor here. I'm not side on. I'm letting the opponent put all his weight on me. I'm not moving with my hips. You know, I'm letting him control my hips and that sort of thing. And you will literally change the way you're fighting overnight if you read this book. And you, without changing subject, this book gets a 5 out of 5. It's an excellent book. But what I was going to say is that there are many martial arts schools out there with very poor caliber students, and I know possibly if anyone watches this in the martial art world, they'll get me a lot of shit. Fair, go for it, it's fine. But there are a lot of martial arts schools with very poor levels of black belts or belts, graded belts, and you can see by the movements that they initiate, the way they throw techniques on, the way they understand or train, and the way they are, that they don't have the foundational knowledge. And that's not any personal attack on those people. That's just basically how they've come to the art and how they've learnt the art through their teachers and through their time that they've given to the art, to seeing it as a hobby rather on a deeper level. So it is no longer, it's not like a personal slur on anybody that is graded and, you know, is a black belt and who, you know, their game's weak. What I will say though is there's a reason why it takes 10 years essentially to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and why some schools or many other schools in England, in the UK, can give a black belt out in 3 years, you know, 4 years. You know, there's a reason why there's a big difference between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grade belts and more amateur club belts that wish to have a class full of black belts and brown belts and purple belts and come across a certain way, and also maintain students who don't want to be held back on a grade. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But even those guys, if you are in a school that doesn't really teach to an in-depth level, buy this book and it will radically change your jiu-jitsu overnight. The way this guy communicates the 21 immutable points is superb. Some of them are on one page, and if you learn the technique just by understanding the concepts that he's teaching, most jiu-jitsu books have lots and lots of pictures. They have lots and lots of pictures in them. This has very few pictures in it, and it's all about concepts and key movements and key principles of understanding your relationship with your opponent. Now, making mastery of learning this book or learning this book inside out won't make you able to go into a competition and beat everybody because you've read this book, or if you are just starting jiu-jitsu, you're not going to walk into a club and start beating everybody. But what it is going to, you're not going to be able to do that ever. But what it is going to do is, if you learn the concepts and they're actually like, you really intellectualize them and you go and start in jiu-jitsu new, when you're moving around, people are going to go, wow, this guy knows how to move a bit. You might not be able to do any throws, arms, submissions, triangles, arm bars, chokes as such, but that's not the point, because Helio Gracie with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his style was about coming out alive. If you didn't lose, then you didn't lose. Okay, so winning wasn't if you didn't win, sorry, it didn't mean that you didn't lose. Basically, if you weren't knocked out or weren't choked out, you've won. If you've come away from it with the least amount of personal damage, you've won. And that's kind of the beauty of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu that a lot of people do not understand in the common modern UFC world, where it's all gone down a different path, really. But this book has got many, many good lessons, and I'll read some out to you. The wet rug analogy. Avoid overreaching. Flow like water. Limbs vs limbs principle. How to maximize weight pressure. The American football analogy. The big rock analogy. The fine line. The Zen stage. It goes on. So there's 21 concepts. So if you do jiu-jitsu, lads or ladies, and you want to improve your game, this guy is an absolute champion, world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner. And he has done something with this book that very few people have done. And he's not trying to make loads of money out of it either. So if you are seeing this and you do jiu-jitsu, I ask you, please support this grandmaster, this a legend of jiu-jitsu. Buy his book, give him a massive amount of support. Run out there, buy his book, study it. He's doing you a favour. You buying his book, you're doing not him a favour, sorry. He's doing you a favour, because what he's teaching you will radically improve your jiu-jitsu, but on a deeper level, you could transform that knowledge into lifestyle. So that is the book review today. It gets a 5 out of 5. Many books of jiu-jitsu and martial arts have lots of photos on how to throw techniques out, but it's the invisible jiu-jitsu that is truly what makes the difference between an okay martial artist and a very good martial artist. So martial arts is something that has a very deep subject, but there are foundations in every style that you must come to really understand to get very good at the style. And if you try to, you might be very physically able, you might be very strong, you might be very athletic, and they're in a street fight, they're going to pay off massively. But the foundations of what we call invisible jiu-jitsu, or what they call invisible jiu-jitsu in the Gracie family, are really, really, really significant. Really significant. So in the chaos of sparring, you learn to apply these techniques. So in a real street scenario, you're far more likely and capable of remembering them in the panic of the moment and implementing them in self-defense. So 21 immutable principles of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the ultimate handbook for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu students, by Paulo Guillobel. Excuse me for not being able to say his name. I apologise that, even though I followed him, I cannot say his last name. Guillobel. How would you say his last name? Fantastic book. Remember, if you go and buy his book because you're a massive martial artist lover, you're doing not him a favour by buying his book, but yourself a favour. He's doing you the favour if you buy his book. So that's me. If you've liked this video, if you're a martial artist, what are your thoughts on the climate of grades and belts? Do you value your belt? Do you value belts? Or belts just a way of keeping your pants up? That's my philosophy ultimately. Although I do respect them on a deeper level, I'm just saying in general, they are mostly for motivation. But if you've liked this video, give it a like. If you've liked this video, give us a like, or give me a comment, speak to me below. The YouTube video channel, I'm just trying to play with it at the moment. If you're watching this video, I'm just playing with it. I'm trying to work on an idea for a YouTube channel where I'm doing book reviews, but already with like 10 book reviews on now, I can already sort of see the things that I could do better and improve. But it's all a matter of whether I can be bothered, because I don't really think that doing book reviews as such is going to be sufficiently worth the time and effort for a YouTube channel, just because I don't think it's going to have much popularity to it. But if it does grow, I might start implementing certain things. Like, for example, you can look at this book's reviews online and see that it's an incredible book that I've just done a review on. It's a 5 out of 5 book. It's one of those books that you wish you had read 20 years ago. If you've been doing martial arts 20 years, you'll wish you'll have had that information from day dot. So that's it. What are your thoughts on that? If you've got the book, do you like it? Have you read the book? If you buy the book because you've seen this video and you're a martial artist lover, tell me what you think once you've read it, and come back to my video and thank me for putting you onto that book. That's it, folks. See you later.